Hello. Good morning, and welcome to another video. Hopefully this isn't going to be too long because I actually have somewhere to be, but I wanted to answer this question, and I did try not to, I didn't. Like, I don't have notes for this conversation because as I thought about it, it's just, there's so much that we can talk about here. I'm just going to allow the Holy Spirit to flow, and I want to answer this question in depth because it deserves it. Okay. And she deserves it. Hello, my friend. So the question is, if you could do it all over from being single to married, what will you do differently? And you would think that I could have like a list. I would have a list of what I would do differently. But I realized, and I'm not trying to be cheesy with these things. I promise I'm not trying to be cheesy, that I couldn't do anything differently. I will say as well that even though marriage has been hard, marriage has been good to me. I got it right by the time I got married. If I didn't get it right, if I wasn't on the right track by the time I got married, I probably wouldn't still be married. Even though there were some bumps along the road, and we're still on the road. So that's what life is though, right? That part I got right. And you guys know, my husband is older than I am. My husband was married previously. And he could attest to, I'm not going to sit here and tell his story because it's not my story to tell. He could attest to, he got it right this time as well. He came to a place in his life where he got it right this time. And so we came together in doing it right. But that doesn't mean that there weren't other things back there that definitely needed more attention. But I couldn't have done anything differently. I will tell you this, and I think you guys know this at this point. These type of videos changed my life. So seeing now from my lens, my family situation, I do have a big sister, but I didn't have a big sister figure. And what I mean by a big sister figure, I mean someone who is rooted in God's principles, telling me with good intentions and past good intentions, godly intentions, Tanzania, this isn't right. I'm going to give you this example. I told you I used to be in the praise and worship team. I feel like this conversation is going to be long. I told you I used to be in the praise and worship team. This is the church that I encountered God. And I don't consider myself a singer. I can sing, but I don't consider myself a singer. And I really believe it was just a season of my life that God wanted me to sit still and get to know who he is. And that's what the praise team was for me. I remember one day I had a lead, I don't want to call it lead because it's not really about me. Okay. I probably didn't know that at that time, but I didn't know that. I actually knew that this day. I had a lead song, and the praise and worship leader, she was, I remember feeling some kind of way because everybody else got to practice their lead songs. Like when they had to lead worship, they got to practice the songs, and she didn't let me practice. And it was really nothing but the grace of God, even though she was doing it very malicious. Like it wasn't, it worked out good. And I remember getting up there, the church is full of people, and beginning to sing this song, and people like wailing in the crowd. And that, I now know that was really the beginning of all of this, right? Like, because I went to this place of like, Lord, like I was singing to God. I wasn't singing to the people. I only paid attention because people were telling me about it after. Like I only was like, oh, that's what that was, because people made mention of it after. But I remember stepping off, like where the praise and worship team was done that day, and I had on this black like turtleneck. And it was like a mock turtleneck. That's what you call it. And the sleeves were short. And I had on this black pencil skirt. Now, this is 21, 22-year-old me. And I'm not saying I, don't have a little body, yada, yada now. I'm not trying to say that. All I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to say. I'm going to keep it clean. And I was trying to look good for a man in the church. If I'm being honest. This is about honesty. I was trying to look good for him. So I was singing to the Lord, but I also had on an outfit that was very interesting. And I remember walking down off of the stage, and one of my friends was like, Tanzania, come see. And I'm like, you know, what's up? I see nothing wrong with my attire at all. Like, there's nothing in me that says you don't have on the right kind of clothes to be up here in front of the Lord's people. Nothing in me, because I never heard it. I had always gotten like, you know, I'm not saying my mom let me wear whatever I wanted to wear, but it was more like, oh, look at the dunk. Oh, look at the thighs. And less about like, you probably shouldn't be showing all that. So I really it never dawned on me. When I was like 14, 15 years old, I used to walk around with like crop tops, like having my belly out and stuff like that. High heels and shorts. It never dawned on me that this could possibly be wrong, right? So like I said, she was like, Tansy, come see. And she says, there is no reason that I should know that you have on a lime green thong right now. You need to wear a slip under that dress. The skirt was completely see-through. So not only could you see my underwear, but you could actually see the cheeks and the underwear. Imagine that. Imagine the drummers and the piano player getting a full run through of me while I'm up here worshiping the Lord. They're up here worshiping what the Lord has done, if you know what I mean. So it was just little interventions like that from people along the way who really gave me something to think about when I went home. It was those little seeds that the Lord planted, you know, via other people that like, because I really didn't have that. And I don't mean that to be rude to anyone. I did not have that. I had messy, I had gossiping, I had girl, don't wear my stuff, don't touch my stuff. Oh, look what Tanzania doing. I had that kind of stuff. I didn't have. You know, that's gonna lead you astray, right? Like, homegirl really got me together. That friend, she was married at the time, and she looked after me. She's the friend who said, like, well, if you think this man's your husband, the next time you meet him, do not wear a swimsuit. So I don't think this is something that I would have done different. Like I said, I think this is I'm going to talk about a few things, but it's something I want to paint a picture for you of like I said, these kind of videos changed my life, and people like that changed my life. Because I just began to think about stuff. I used to come home, and once I finally I didn't start getting this kind of wisdom that I'm giving to you guys in these videos. And even some of this stuff, sometimes I go a bit deeper. I go deeper than I was exposed to, but I go as deep as God has exposed me to, if you know what I mean. So if the Lord shows me something in the spirit or otherwise, I come to you with it because, like I said, these are the type of things that change my life. Even if they're not principles that you understand, it's good to just, it's good to find good counsel. And I will say that probably would be the first thing that if I could implement, I can't change anything. And I don't want to change anything because I couldn't come to you like this if I could. But if at some point in time I never sought wise counsel, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you today. So one of the things that is very important and, is having people who are wiser than you around you. And a lot of people don't like I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything. There are certain areas that I know a lot about. And it's not because, I've been flipping through books. It's because I lived it. So I think that it's wise to get around people who have lived through what it is that you're going through, and not people who are still in it. So not people who are still crying about what their mama, daddy, sister, brother did to them. Not people who are still crying about it like that, but someone who has actually built life and been able to move through it. Those are the people that you need to, be in the company with. And if I'm honest with you, sometimes it's hard to find those people. Me here on the internet, you might not ever come across a friend like me in real life, because if I'm honest with you, I don't have too many friends in real life, because people don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They don't want to apply what it is that you're saying, and I won't be casting my pearls to swine. So keep doing what you're doing as far as this. Keep doing what you're doing. And I can't speak for everyone. The two people that I used to watch, I won't even say their names. One of them was a pastor, and one of them were doing videos kind of like what I'm doing right now. And then she started to kind of do other stuff. And I just started to pick up little things from the video. I'm like, man, it was the exposure that really changed my life, right? And I want to say that as well is I had a lot of exposure. So though I had a lot of, life started to get different for me when I was like a teenager. That's when it started to be noticed. But I had a lot of exposure. My family and we lived overseas. So both of my parents were in the military. We lived in Germany. I moved a bunch of different places. Like I've lived a lot of places. And so I had a lot of exposure to different classes of people and just different lifestyles in general outside of my own. Because I do have a sibling who didn't get all of those things. And I can see how that exposure was even important for me, because it's important for children to see that your outcome isn't the only outcome. You understand what I mean? And whether that's good or bad, you're not the nail in the coffin. I literally hope you're not the nail in the coffin, but yeah, I would get, so let me try to answer it that way. I would get wise counsel sooner. And in order for me to get wise counsel sooner, it sounds good me saying it now, but I would have had to know that I lacked wisdom. And I didn't have anyone, like I said, had people talking about me, but talking about me like being messy and actually correcting me is different. Like I told you about the dress code. From that day forward, I totally was like, she's right. I probably shouldn't be dressing like this. Like I got it. I wasn't doing it intentionally. I was trying to look good, but I wasn't trying to lead nobody astray. And I guess that'll bring me to the next thing. I wish I would have known how serious those things that I didn't think were so serious actually were. Some people never recover from the stuff that I went through. Some people never get out of the bad relationships. Some people, some people never recover. Some women never recover from promiscuity. It doesn't matter the root of it. It doesn't matter why it started. Some people never recover from it. So the point of time where I started to see my sin as God sees my sin and stop making excuses for it, I wish I would have done that sooner. Like, this is sinful behavior, and it's not just cute. It's not just like, oh, I'm struggling. It's not that. No, this could ruin your life. No, you could actually wake up in hell. Like this could take you down for real. And because I never heard it, I just let it ruin my life. And, there's a lot of people who will rally with you when you're doing wrong, but not a lot of people who will band with you when you're doing right. And I found this to be true because not a lot of people are living right. And I know you're like, well, Tansy, do you think you're better than somebody? I don't think I'm better than someone. But I will tell you that just like in the days of Noah, baby, there's not a lot of people who want to do the right thing because doing the right thing is hard. Doing the right thing, I will look like a fool most of the time. Most of the time, you can point me out. All of the time that when I've really been like ostracized, I felt like you could point me out in the room and ostracize me. But the truth is, I was the only one in the room doing the right thing. And that's not like, I read this book for you guys, A Divine Revelation of Hell, a while ago. And I remember one of the stories was the lady was like, I was following Jesus, it was good until I realized that nobody liked me. Until I realized that I don't get many claps. Until I realized that the videos that I'm talking about Jesus and trying to help people better their life don't get as many views as the videos where, I could be on here half naked and then my breasts are hoist up, but I'm leading people astray. A lot of people, you want it, but you don't really want it. You've got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I spent a lot of time with 1 foot in and 1 foot out because I didn't have that groundwork done. And the devil loved it there. He loved it there. It's crazy because when this question was asked, I was actually, girl, up in here praising the Lord because I realized that he took me all the way back around to the point where I actually lost my mind. I was on track to do something good, and then I ran into like the wrong relationship. That's why I'm so passionate about relationships, because the wrong relationship can take you out of here, or leave you stuck until you are taken out of here. And I don't want that for anyone, because I know, like, I've literally experienced the depths of what that means. And like I said, both in the spirit and in the natural, and it's just not a good place. It's no place that I would want any woman to be. It doesn't matter if I like her. It doesn't matter if I don't like her. It doesn't matter if she doesn't like me. That doesn't matter to me anymore. And that would be the next thing that I'm going to say is I would make up my mind to do the right thing, even though it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to not be liked. It's uncomfortable. Even you asked the question about from being single to married. the inability to have difficult conversations that sometimes lead in conflict was one of the issues that we had. But I picked this up along the way. I picked this up of like, if you tell this person that what they said is not right, or that it hurts your feelings or something like that, it's going to cause a rift. So it began to be a problem. And I remember I did this, I did a CNA program. And when we exited the program, one of the things that we had to do, one of the things that we had to do was list our strengths and list our weaknesses. And I was 19 years old at the time, 18 or 19. And it's crazy because I was able to list my weaknesses and not my strengths so easily. And one of the weaknesses that I told the lady was, I'm afraid to hear someone say no, so I won't ask the question. Like, and not I'm afraid that you're going to tell me no, like no is just no. I'm afraid of the way that I'll respond to you when you tell me I can't have something. And I developed that as a child. So instead of asking my mom, like, hey, can I go to the movie theater? I wouldn't ask at all. Because if she said no, if she said no and I was like, her helper, I would do all the things. I was very, if she said no, then I would have to. It makes me think about the person different if you wouldn't give me something that I'm asking for and I would do anything for you. So it was, Father, it was just this sense of, it's something that I picked up along the way. Don't ask questions. Okay. You can know the truth. You'll know the truth and people could just do you wrong. Don't ask any questions. Don't be confrontational. And that's a lie straight from the pits of hell, because sometimes the enemy actually needs to be confronted. Sometimes just cast out and cast aside, sometimes confronted. And people will get away with as much as you allow. And I will say that's not just for singleness, that's for marriage too. And I did a lot of that in my singleness. Most of the things that I got into was because people brought me into it. I was never, I'm not gonna call myself the good girl, but I was never like intentionally, you know what I mean? Like, you'll have to release your inner ballerina at the end of the year or the beginning of the year to know the full story. I'm not going to go on here because some of it's a bit vulgar, but that stuff I was pulled into. And there was a point in time where I had to make a choice to get out of it. Okay. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Make good choices. Do the right thing. Those are things that I would tell like a single person, because those are the things that really changed my life. The ability for me to do right or wrong didn't go away because I got married. Okay. And if you think for a second that, marriage kind of cancels out all the things that I could do, that's a lie also, straight from the pits of hell. You don't think that I had this problem really bad when we first got married. I told you this in this video. It's not new information. Just reiterating. Okay. Reiterating. I was very like, who does he think he is? Does he not know who I am? I was very much like that. Well, it's not really the way to go. Like, it's not really the way to go about doing things. And I just had to make up my mind to do the right thing. Even if I didn't see the right thing modeled, when I began to know that better choices could be made, I had to start making better choices and just, you see how long-winded this is? It's like, I can't do it all over. There are things that I would say to someone who is doing it, the sooner the better. But there are also things that you're just going to have to go through to develop yourself as a person. And hopefully it's not straight on down. Like, hopefully you learn from people like myself and other people, and you don't make those same mistakes, because they could ruin your life. They could ruin your life. And, to most people, I'm still young. I am still young. I just turned 30 this year. Heck, if I was 40, I would still be young. There's still a lot of life to live. But when I was in my 20s and I was like, I had that vitality of youth, kind of like I said before, I could work 3 jobs, baby. You see what I'm doing? I got to handle some grown-up business this morning, but I could really be laying in this bed. This bed was literally unmade before I came on this camera, but since it's my backdrop, I decided to get up and make it up. Okay, I got to do things like take walks. Okay, it's different. And all that time that I had, I would tell to another young woman, don't spend all that time doing stupid stuff and running up behind a man that hasn't discovered himself and doesn't know who he is. How can he even help me? It just, when I look back at those relationships, like just totally stupid. Totally stupid. But it was really because I lacked this, I lacked the essence of love in my life. And much like, girl, I have compassion for the prostitute. I have compassion for the drug addict. I have compassion for the gang member. You know why? Because I understand that a lack of a void space in your life can make you feel it literally with anything. Literally with anything. And I think because I'm trying to be nice here and not try to sound boastful because I'm not trying to be that way. But I think when you look good outwardly to other people and you're like, it's like, oh, she's cute. She's, that kind of thing. It's easier for you to get trapped up in a lifestyle like I was in, where you just kind of have like a windmill of options until one day you realize these aren't really options. I'm playing around. And then when you realize further, like I could only imagine just keep going on that same road, that I would actually not be here. And this is the Lord's work. Me doing what I'm doing, these videos is the Lord's work. How long, like what would I actually be able to stay away from that and keep and be in my right mind? Not very long. As you can see, I was out of my mind. And if I would have did the same thing I was doing from 18 to 30 years old, I wouldn't even be the same person sitting before you here today. I told you when I was married and we was like going through a rough time, I used to have the these braids alone. I used to have the long braids, or one time I cut all my hair off and dyed it blonde. And my sister would have me with the long, like the little ghetto girl nails on, and I was just acting like real hood radish because like just very overly sexual. Trying to accomplish something that was really deeply rooted out there. And you can't really, Grace is such a crazy, this is a long, I'm sorry. I'm long-winded. That's why you asked. You think you slick. You're not slick. You can't really win in marriage trying to, love wins. Love wins in every aspect. My husband is strong-willed as I am strong-willed. And, you can try to strong-will your way through a man's life, but you'll just ruin your own life. And once I saw that, I wasn't really up for ruining my own life. So, you know what I mean? It was the other mistakes that kind of helped. This is a long question. I'm sorry. So what would I do again differently? I just gave you all the answers of what I would do differently. I wanted to say this because I was talking about like filling it up with other stuff, and I thought about sucking my thumb. I haven't sucked my thumb since that day. The Lord is good, okay? That just tells me time and chance happens to them all. Remember Ecclesiastes 9:11. Time and chance happens to them all. There's a time and a season. There's a season and a time, a predestined time for every single thing under the sun. And Father, that is what I want you to take away from this. I want you to know that it might not be your time in the right season right now. But while it's not your time and it's not in the right season, I do want you to make good choices, especially you. I know you're going to listen to this. I want you to make good choices. I want you to really I want you to begin to see yourself as God sees you. And I want you to even begin to see the things that he's been telling you to fix as he sees them, because those are things that will ruin your life. And I don't want your life ruined. I'm like, my cross is on my back. I've picked up my cross. I understand my position here. And I'm grateful for people like you asking this question. I'm also praying for the women that'll come across this video who didn't ask this question, who are afraid to ask this question, but need a real answer. God is faithful, but you got to make good choices. He's not going to push you to change anything. At no point in time, he was a total gentleman to me. Okay. At no point in time did he push me to do anything. He gave me experiences And even through those experiences, I had to get up, sometimes literally roll out of the bed, a bed I shouldn't have been in, and still make the right choice. Like, still choose to make the right choice. Look like a fool and still make the right choice. Say I messed up and still make the right choice. Say I know that I shouldn't have done that. I know I should have been over there. I know I shouldn't have. But today is a new day. I've awoken up again. God, you still have me here. And today I will make the right choice. And I did that long enough that the right choice is second nature. I can tell you right here, right now, that I'm proud of the woman that I've become, because there's no double-mindedness. There, you can live holy. You can be holy, and being holy will set you apart. And that's what God wants for us. As always, if you have a question, ask a question, and I'll see you in the next video.